3 games. So back to the format that we all pretty much know by now. Obviously, it was a nice change up there with the group stages, the round robin going on. Definitely had some fun with that, some crazy results, but this is where things stand now. As you see the brackets, it's Sync Esports versus Shrek is Love. Nullstone Gaming versus Fresh will be the other bracket matchup coming at you. That'll be on Thursday of this week, and then, of course, into the week. And again, you go to Hauntour.com, you can find out all this information for yourself under the Onslaught banner. So, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Also, welcome Minnie, my co-caster here. Minnie, how's it going?
Hey man, yeah, I'm doing good. I'm looking forward to this matchup as well. We've obviously getting to the later part of this tournament now, and I'm really looking forward to it as well. Obviously got some 2 great teams in the matchup now as well. Ogre just had a really good showing actually in the group stages, and obviously was able to actually kind of surprisingly get out the group stage, honestly, but they definitely deserved it. So looking forward to what they can bring to Daybreaky.
Well, of course, the big reason why they're here is that they beat Bad Monkey Gaming, and thus they had the better record in the end, and thus they are now here, advancing on. So that's the biggest thing, the fact that BMG, a team that's going to Thailand with Sync Esports for the World Finals, is not in the second part of this event. So definitely a lot of props to Shrek. Now, again, they are using a ring here. Macero wasn't able to make it. Remember Me is in place of him. Not too familiar with the player personally. I don't know if you know him much.
I think it's Denver Pro.
Is it? Okay.
I believe so, yeah. No, it's not, because he's actually online. It's one of the Rexos, though.
One of those alts
I think it's green.
theirs.
Yeah, I think it's. I can't remember the other one, but yeah, it's one of the Rexos though. One of the ones that you used to play with Insania. I can't remember which one it is, but
gotcha.
One of those Rexos.
Well, one of those darn Rexars is playing for them. So obviously, we'll see how he performs here. But again, this being a best of 3 against Sync Esports, it's safe to say they got quite the challenge ahead of them. So. Let's start talking about the draft, though. I had to rejoin here and restart, the patch and everything, screwing everything up for my production. But we're good to go now, though. We see the initial bans of Tremble, Doctor, Malakin, and Warbeast. I assume Malakin was banned by Sync. I don't know if you caught that yourself, but yeah.
Yeah, I did. And I think it's a good ban. I mean, I talked about Ogre before when they're picking up a lot of Malakun, and it's a comfort pick for Nox. And as it should be, he played a fantastic game against everyone really in the group stages, so no surprise banning out here. Going over to the draft now as well. First pick Magnus going over to Ogre, and then an interesting first pick from onto Moira actually. We've talked a little bit about the hero before, Breaky. It's a very strong hero. Obviously, it's good in certain scenarios as well. Makes it even better. Obviously, some of them like being against Dr. Repulsor, but that's banned out here. But against the Magnus in particular as well, very very useful because whenever Magnus jumps in with the eruption, you use the Arcane Vortex and you completely nullify all of its damage. And Magnus Eruption is a very devastating teamfight ability. So with Moira's sort of ult, it kind of nullifies that completely. So yeah, the first sort of good openings from both teams, I guess.
Yeah, there's obvious reasons why when we think Moira, again, especially being a very new hero on the scene, not only new hero in competitive, but again, just new in general, one of the newer heroes in the game, you think it counted a Dr. Repulsor, and that's where we have seen her in glimpses now and then. And as you mentioned the other day, we just saw them counterpicking in a sense against a doctor. But yeah, that's what's kind of intriguing to me here is the fact that it wasn't against a doctor. It's just simply we really like this hero, and Santa has definitely showed the power of a support Moira. Even getting an earlier on portal key the last time we saw him, and it did a lot of work throughout that game. The Arcane Vortex is just an overall a great team fight for delaying, for initiating with, and obviously just, again, a very effective gank-heavy hero. So I think it's also just honestly fun to play compared to other support heroes, you could say. And that wouldn't be surprising if that's another reason why Insania prefers to pick it up here. But yeah, good nonetheless. Yeah, the bubbles of Flex on top of that. So looks like they are going for a little bit of AoE themselves. I mean, Flex not an often pick of theirs, to be honest.
Yeah, it's a little bit surprising to me, but I would like to see it nonetheless. I know something that actually Nullstone Gaming have been playing a lot. She's Suicide Flux actually for Oscar in the offlane, and we might see that here. Whenever I see Sync pick up bubbles, normally it's in the hands of Mickey. Obviously played it, I think, on the last weekend, I think on the Sunday actually. And I'm assuming it's going to be that there as well. Maybe they're experimenting with perhaps the Suicide Flux. It would be interesting to see nonetheless. Could obviously be played, obviously mid and bubbles offlane, for example, but we'll have to wait and see for that. An interesting third pick though from Ogre. They third pick Rhapsody, and I've talked about it a little bit before, but I really don't like Rhapsody picks into Bubbles because Bubbles has such an easy time of cancelling that Protective Melody. The Song of the Sea and the Kelpfield is just such a good sort of skill set to deal with Rhapsody. So kind of interesting they picked into it, but it synergizes, I guess, decent with Magnus and the dual mid. So
yeah.
Not too bad, I guess.
Just one of those. It's a good support option now. But you're right. I mean, that's something that they should have really thought about. If you're not able to use her for that protective ability, for that big save in the team fights, and it definitely takes away a lot from the hero. I mean, obviously has a pretty strong laning presence with the staccato and whatnot, but
yeah, I mean, a lot of supports have good laning phases, though, kind of thing. Like you want to draft them so that your ultimates can be useful, kind of thing. But I guess as long as his position is good, for example, and might be able to work out. But I pick up Cthulhu as well, actually.
Yeah, get through the fun coming out here, and now we'll see if ends up being a jungler or something else over here for Shrek. But we've been seeing a lot of jungle Cthulhu fun, I feel like, lately. It's kind of been brought back into the scene, and people liking him.
Yeah. I think it's more so the aggressive jungle Cthulhu. I don't think we see a lot of safe jungle Cthulhu. Whenever I see Cthulhu picks up, it's actually more so on the side of Min, actually, if I remember correctly. Iceland Gogo plays a fantastic Cthulhu. Normally playing the aggressive lane, is very, very aggressive himself, and actually racks up a lot of sort of kills in that respect. But one thing I can see from Ogre's lineup, though, or draft already, is that they are lacking a little bit of like physical presence. I mean, obviously Puppet Master can offer a little bit of that in the late game, but in terms of right now, though, it's very, very magical heavy. And Puppet Master, particularly before like level 16 or when he picks up a lot of farm, he's a lot of magic damage himself. Obviously, the Voodoo Puppet is magical, and something that is a little bit lacking in their draft, honestly. And they've got at least a Flux and a Tempest, so most likely going to be picking up Shrunken Head. So I would like to see perhaps some physical presence here with their last pick. Most likely it's going to be the offlane. And Madman is banned out. That would have been a nice pick, actually. But I guess we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, we'll have to see what Sync Esports decide to go with here. And I do have a shield over my timer here, so I'm not too sure how much time they have left.
About 20 seconds.
Either side. Okay, about 20 seconds, so going to have to think about this one sooner than later here is Shrek. But the right-clicking a Soul Stealer, I mean, that would be very interesting. Already having the Puppet Master.
Yeah, I mean, it'd give him physical presence, but I think he would be pretty greedy, though. Easily punished, but they do go for it, though.
Wow.
Okay. Well, I can understand it. Like, Sync are going for somewhat of a team fight lineup, almost AoE-centric in that respect. And, yeah, I guess Ogre have a little bit of themselves, well, with the Magmus and the Soul Stealer now. But, yeah, it's very greedy, though. I think I actually remember Reason doing something similar. I think they had Puppet Master and Clanks, obviously, it's Soul Stealer in this case. But it can work out, I guess. They've got a Tempest on the side of Sync, so they can't punish it. And so, yeah, Sync don't try and punish it. They just try and almost go late game themselves with the Dark Lady. This is very un-Sync-like, it feels like. But, interesting to see there.
You know, again, we're talking about this not only, in a sense, a filler event, not to take anything away from this obviously being still a lot of hype around it, a lot of fun to watch and everything, but it's kind of an event that, to help pass the time with the World Finals just around the corner, and the teams, especially those that were going to it in both Sync Esports and BMG, ideally going to be using this for a little bit of extra practice. Now, again, we've already talked about BMG and how they're out. It's a little awkward there, but Sync Esports, again, I wouldn't be surprised if that's on their mind too. Why not use this actual competitive environment? Sure, scrims are one thing, but it doesn't give you the actual tournament feel of something being on the line. Yeah. And sure, it's $3,000, still some good money, but in the big picture, they want to make sure they're ready for that big event, being the World Finals.
True.
So yeah, wouldn't be surprised if they're kind of preparing for that, really.
I think you're right, though, and also I think in Thailand, especially, like, whenever you play LANs, like, almost a meta can definitely establish, for example, and if you're playing the same things over and over again, obviously in practice, then most likely in LANs you're going to be doing the same thing because you're not practiced or well-versed, obviously in the other strategies like this one, for example. Mm-hmm. And, if Sync aren't prepared to play strats like this in Thailand, they can easily get punished, for example. I mean, in a very almost action-packed couple of days in Thailand, people are going to pick up what you're playing, and they're going to work out strategies against you. So it's very, very important that you have a plethora of strategy going into the event. And obviously the only way to have a plethora of strategy going into the event is having a plethora of strategies that you'll practice before you go into the event. So, yeah, I definitely think you're right there, Break. You could be something of just trying to practice a lot of different strats going into Thailand. So, yeah, definitely.
All right, so obviously a pause to kick things off here, maybe making sure that Remember Me, the ringer, on the same page and everything, and voice chat and whatnot, but going to be good to go. But yeah, this again, going back to what they do have, it's right. I mean, Flensmeister, seen him play an actual hard carry hero. Again, he played the Malakin, of course, in their last matchup, and obviously did very well in the end. And again, showing us that maybe he doesn't necessarily do that often for Sync Esports, despite their success, but he still, by all means, is their carry player and can do it, can compete with the best of him when it comes to that role, of course. So. Playing the Dark Lady here, though, yeah, excited to see that. Now, I will say Dark Lady was kind of an interesting pickup to me, though, in the sense that Well, yes and no. I mean, I guess I'm looking at these Legion carries kind of. Usually she's really good against the idea of like a Wretched Hag or like a Mage Bane, the classic that matchup there in the past where they have the ability to get away, but with the silence it doesn't let them. You like it here, though?
I do like it for two main reasons. First of all, they had to pick up a carry that would go Shrunken Head. Obviously, Dark Lady is a very inherent Shrunken Head carrier. And second of all, they needed a carry that could easily go toe-to-toe with any of the carries that Ogre had at the time. And that normally shouts, obviously, you kind of need like a melee carry. And there's not really much hard of a carry outside of Dark Lady in this respect. So I do like it. And not only that, but, I mean, the ability of using Charging Strikes plus into like a 2 or 3 man Tempest Hole, for example, can be absolutely devastating because of the cleave effect. So, yeah, I do like it here. It's not going to get punished, obviously, either in the laning phase, which it could be in other games, because obviously Ogre are running quite a greedy strategy themselves. So, yeah, I really do like it. Obviously, it can't take that effect in terms of the silence of the Dark Blades. It's not really, that's not the biggest factor in why they picked her up. And yeah, I do like it though. It's very, very strong, I think, in the mid to late game.
Absolutely. The potential's definitely there. Now, KZ, you see off to the side, he still has a Ward of Sight on him, hasn't placed it just yet, and I would assume that they picked up on that don't need to worry about counter-warding here early on. Now, they got their own Ward of Sight down, getting some nice bottom rune vision, and Cthulhu should be able to work with the camps of his choice, pending if Bubbles does place a ward here, which it looks like he is going to. So, yeah, just places it behind, so won't be able to work with this camp, but again, it's not the end of the world necessarily. Cthulhu especially the fact, that Parasite idea where you just can take over a group anyways with his hook him. Not a big deal using those harder camps earlier on. Middle matchup, Puppet Master versus a Flux. Not often you would see this because Puppet usually in that short lane, of course, but because of the lineup that they choose. Now, that's also really kind of extra intriguing to me, though. If anything, you think a mid-hero, you think Soul Stealer. He's like one of the most iconic mid-heroes in the game. Being played on the short lane here with Rhapsody, as I say that, Bubble's taking a lot of pressure. We'll be fine. But is that interesting to you, or do you get it here?
Well, the reason why they put Soulstar at bottom is they're just quite fearful of any early rotations onto the Soulstar, for example. It's very, very easy to be ganked. I mean, so is Puppet Master, to be fair. I mean, in theory, I think perhaps they should have run the Soulstealer mid, because I think he has an easier time against the against the Flux, because he can just spam out the wave with his Demon Hands when he gets level 3 or level 4. But not only that, I think Puppet Master does better down bottom against the bubbles because he has that crowd control ability. He can set up a lot of kills, for example, onto the bubbles if he's not careful. But I guess then you have to think about, Soul Stealer clearing stacks, for example, can easily rotate into the jungle a lot easier than the Puppet Master. And yeah, I think the thing is that they just want to make sure that Nox has a good start, for example. If he's placed mid, for example, he's vulnerable to ganks, and Slap can rotate over on the Tempest, for example, and you have to remember as well, the Puppet Master is the ringer. And I don't really want to bring it up too much because obviously he's a great player, don't get me wrong, but you definitely prefer someone who's part of the team, who's part of the main roster to have a very, very good start, because he's the one that you're usually playing with. And that could be the reasoning behind it there. But I guess in theory, though, if everything was going according to plan, I think Puppet Master would be better bottom and Soulstealer mid. But with how it's working out, I think it's going to work fine, though.
I love the subtle trash talk going on there. Not even subtle, I guess. That's pretty much straight up front. Trash talk. The hashtag shots fired now. Again, only good fun here, but as we're in that pause, just trying to make sure lag and not an issue here. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how that really works out. You talked about the idea of could possibly, go into the jungle, take advantage of the stacks. Again, they have a Cthulhu fawn is going to be eating up most of it, or at least ideally, but at the same time, at least keep a couple of the camps, perhaps. For Soulstar. I mean, we see the pull camp right now, double stack. Now I assume that's going to be used to pull, of course. But Rhapsody, nice counter word here.
Definitely. With Cthulhu, though, he's similar to like a Parasite. He normally just sort of sticks to the hard camps. Obviously, he does rotate over some of the yellow mediums, but obviously he just wants to make sure he can clear out the hard stacks because of the hooking, for example. But yeah, I probably expect him to maybe start rotating, looking for ganks, and the Rhapsody can start stacking up the jungle, for example, for him. But yeah, sorry, go on.
I was just going to make a comparison as far as creep farm goes. You do got Puppet Master at 9-3, Flux currently 7-3. So Puppet, remember me, again, the ringer of the team, is actually off to a pretty good start here. Cthulhu's coming in. They want to set up a kill right here. Puppet Show comes out. He's got the trample ready to go. He's going to use it. Oh, but he hit the cliff. Is that going to be the difference maker in the end? It's going to be close. It will, because Mickey got the Bloodlust on to Rhapsody, and now Cthulhu Font's in trouble himself. Maybe not. It's just the illusion chasing him, but oh, that has to hurt, man.
That's annoying. That's really, really annoying.
Oh, this little cliff.
And because the reason being is because although Flux still died, like he actually got the Bloodlust,
Yeah.
and he's now actually boosted up his farm higher than what he normally would actually. Oh, top lane Magnus might be in trouble with the Dark Blades.
Yeah, they're chasing him down now. He's going to be able to stun away initially. Will he get away is the question. Of course, no more escape at this point. More no shards of Harkon. It won't be up in time, I don't believe, but it doesn't matter. The Taint's still doing work. That being level 2 of it now, more than enough damage to finish off Mighty Marcus. So 2-for-1 start now, but yeah, you said it. I mean, the Bloodlust kill for Flux would not have happened if he just simply hit that trample. And that's a big backfire there.
Yeah, unfortunately. I mean, I guess Rhapsody's going to sit mid now. I mean, he's given Solskjaer a big enough advantage that he can leave him 1v1, for example, and try and help out the Podmaster as much as possible. But yeah, it's a little bit unfortunate, a little bit of misplay there, come out from fine. But overall, Flux still goes down, so he's kind of a little bit under-leveled. So.
That goes through the fun trample, man. That's got to be so. Like Kraken's obviously very similar in that sense. You got to be a little careful about cliffs here and there. Of course, if you're Kraken, ideally you want to charge somebody into the cliff. Or in that case, he's trying to run it over to hit somebody. But anyways, what's done is done. No reason to keep on harping on that. Soul Stealer, Horspell, aka Nox here. He's 280 gold per minute. Currently 18 and 12 now against a 4 and 3 bubbles. Obviously, Rhapsody was down here initially. Kind of makes a lot of sense as to why he's off to the great starting. Kind of going back to what we were discussing earlier. They really are addressing Mickey, though. I mean, you talk about the idea of address the Mickey. You usually have actually a fair shot against Sync Esports, and they're going to really make that work here. I mean, down goes Flux, and he really didn't stand a chance. Even Magnus roaming over in the middle lane.
Yeah, just a nice rotation over from Magnus. He's not getting too much in the top lane. Obviously, he's probably in danger of dying because Dark Blade is sort of sitting up there. I mean, and you can sort of see actually. Mickey was having actually such a hard time in lane, and he had pretty decent positioning actually. A little small trick that he was actually doing, he was pushing the range creep into the enemy creep wave so it would die quicker, so he'd have the better lane positioning, but obviously just still not good enough lane positioning because he still gets caught out, unfortunately. But interesting nonetheless, though. Yeah.
Yeah, this is obviously 2-2 start here. Very even overall, but you are going to be having a free farm Dark Lady now at the same time. She already has those Ghost Marchers, and definitely a scary potential there. Now, we'll take a little bit longer than, of course, the likes of a Soul Stealer and a Puppet Master to actually be involved. So it's safe to say, Shrek here, they're going to be really trying to hit that mark, more of the early to mid-game status, whereas Dark Lady will be taking over the late game. At least that's the idea. Meanwhile, at the top lane, Mighty Marcus once again in trouble. He will stun away, though, and it should be enough. It is. Yeah, good job escaping right there. Do they still think he's here? No. Saw him get away, I'm pretty sure.
That was smart play, though. He just fogged him to try to make sure he didn't get hit by the Dark Blades again and stunned away. So smart play from Marcus. But top lane, he's going to get pushed over. And Ogre, they don't have the ability to really rotate over. The only person that probably could was Soul Stealer, but he does not want to be leaving the bot lane just to sort of push out the or fend off the tier 1 push from Sync. So they're going to lose the tier 1 tower, but I think as long as they can keep lane control, actually, it might give actually a lane for Magnus to farm. So it might be a blessing in disguise in that respect.
Yeah. That's true. Now, the tower, it's easily going to be killed in their favor, and Magnus, nothing he can really do about it. But like I said, at least now he's got a creep farm to work with. Actually, even stuns in right there. A little risky when you're level 3 Magnus gets a level 6 Dark Lady, but obviously not a whole lot Dark Lady could have done right there in that situation. Now, middle lane again, they're trying to address him, but the Rev Ward's down, and they know Cthulhu's here. Yeah, they know he's here. It's just a matter of will they get enough time to make something happen. Here comes Moira, also Tempest coming over. Yep, they're going to pull Cthulhu out, but the trample hits first, and now Cthulhu flies in an awkward spot. Puppet Show on a flex, Moira in the background, Shards of Harkon come out, and down falls the Elephant. Bubbles, he's still going in. Only level 4, though, so no Kelpfield going to be happening from him, and that should be fine. No, Puppet Master, he's getting turned on. The Tempest Ultimate's going to pull him in. He put down the Puppet, trying to kill this Rhapsody, but it's not going to be enough, and Flux will survive. Moira, obviously, the illusion right there, helping to do work. So great pursuit coming out from Sync Esports, and they get a couple kills out of it.
Yeah, definitely. Just nice rotation over from KZ. They had the numbers advantage there, and I mean, this is the one weakness. When you run a very heavy dual core lineup, either you have to make sure that your carry rotates over, or you just have to accept some losses like this sometimes. Because, Sync, they rotated over, and obviously Solstice is busy farming the bot lane. You don't really expect him to TP in, and as Sync, they didn't, for example. So nice rotation over there from Sync, and they do get a secure kill onto the Puppet Master. So.
Yeah. Top lane, Magnus, Striders. You do see Moira is coming in with the flank, but actually she runs into Rhapsody here. Got to battle the supports coming at you. You got Staccato stuns. Nice block from Rhapsody, and now Moira's in a lot of trouble. I'm pretty sure she's basically dead and Gonna try to maybe somehow glitch over the ledge right here. Oh my God, she's going to! No! Oh, that's something. Clever use of game mechanics.
That is actually, that was really, really big, actually.
Oh my gosh.
What a play. That's a really big play, though, like, because that's so hard to do. Obviously, Magnus could have just stunned him and killed him, but at the end of the day, like, he thought he could have an easy kill, and you'd expect to have an easy kill, but like what he did, obviously, he made sure that the path was so small that there was no other way to get out outside of going down the cliff. He made sure that Magnus blocked into himself, and then I was able to sort of walk down the cliff. So nice play from Insane, who actually gets away there and frees up a kill. So.
Yeah, that's pretty big. I mean, not able to kill him, so he stays alive. Do you see the top rune Flux was going up there for it, but I think might have been either destroyed or somebody else got it beforehand. He got Cthulhu Fun, actually, the illusion rune bottled up in his own bottle. Middle lane once again trying to prioritize him, but Tempest going to find Magnus. 4-level advantage over him. Magnus, though, gets away before anything will happen onto him. So, I mean, this is just a middle game right now. A lot of action put around the middle lane for both teams, and that's just keeping free farm, though, for both Dark Lady and Soul Stealer. Again, you see where they're at with GPM. Dark Lady a slight advantage here. Just finished her Sustainer, but again, very, very close at the same time.
Yeah.
Understandable.
Definitely. I'm wondering if Ogre are going to try and put in any sort of effort to try and slow down this Dark Lady. I mean, I don't know if they have the team to do it. They've got a dual core lineup, so they're very greedy themselves. They can't really look to get aggressive, for example. So I'm pretty sure Dark Lady's going to have a complete uninterrupted sort of free farm, even going into the mid game, for example, unless perhaps Podmas picks up an Assassin's Shroud in the sort of very short lead. I don't think he's going to get pressured, so I'm assuming Ogre are just going to try and deal with him in the late game with both Pubmaster and Soulstealer able to dish out a lot of damage. Actually, top lane Magnus might be in trouble. Actually,
nice job. I guess that is an advantage against a Moira. It's a very obvious stun animation, and if you have a disjoint ability such as we saw right there, able to avoid the stun with the Steam Bass. So well played by Mighty Marcus right there, playing the Magnus once again.
But yeah, so I'm wondering if they're just going to try and deal with him like in the late game, just with raw right clicks, because he's definitely going to be building a Shrunken later on. So Pubmaster is going to have a very reduced effectiveness or impact on the Dark Lane unless he can get the jump on him in the late game, honestly. And unless they just build raw right click and try and beat him down even when he's got the Shrunken head, it's going to be very hard to actually deal with this Dark Lane, I think, in the late game, particularly when there's a Tempest sort of backing him up. So yeah.
Look at everyone coming to the bottom lane here. 4 to the 5 heroes are here right now for Shrek is Love. And KZ, they're going to give him a little bit of love right here. Can he make the escape staccato? No, he cannot take cover or anything. He just could not react in time. And he goes down. Double damage for now. Cthulhu Fun going to put some damage into the tower. So very likely, of course, be a tower kill now on top of that. So, yeah, they use a lot to get up there. Flux actually pulls them in. He's trying to maybe throw them off right here, act like there's an initiation, but there wasn't. So, yeah, trying to bait something out there, if anything, also maybe for vision, as we've seen many times before. And in the end, they do get the tower kill, and they'll fall back. So, good attempt by Six to try to scare them off, but Shrek didn't have any of that. What's that?
I'm in love.
Oh, man. Storm Spirit?
It's going Storm Spirit Portal Key. Oh, my God, Nox. I'm in love, man.
What?
This combo is so strong, and I didn't think they would be able to deal with the Dark Lady, but now they will if they look to get aggressive on him. So he'll be building a Portal Key next. You can put, actually, mid lane Flux might be in trouble.
Is he actually going to fall down again? He doesn't have his discharge. He used it earlier at the bottom lane for whatever reason, and that could be the difference maker right here. He's taking, but not taking enough, and no Arcane Vortex from Moira. She's only level 5. Nice kill once again. But explain what is going on.
I actually love this so much. Right, so he builds a Storm Spirit onto the Soul Stealer first of all. Okay, so obviously it's very useful on Soul Stealer because gives him a lot of mana regeneration. Obviously, you can farm out the creep rates, for example. It's kind of like an alternative to Nullstone, but that's not the reason why you get it. The reason why you get it is because you'll be picking up a Portal Key next item, and when he gets that, he can Portal Key onto the Dark Lady, make sure he gets a perfect sort of lining up onto the Soul Burst, and he'll be able to one-shot the Dark Lady. When he gets Shrunken in as well, outside of maybe Tempest Ultimate, for example, we Portal Key in, use the Storm Spirit, make sure he's completely standing under the person who's Storm Spirit, sort of wind up the Soul Burst and instantly one-shot the target, and it's incredibly effective if you can pull it off. And to be fair, I mean, I've been playing it a lot in pubs, and I didn't think it is actually worthwhile on a competitive scene, but when I saw it here, man, this guy's got balls, man. He's got absolute balls to pick it up in competitive scene.
Nox is gonna show us the potential, perhaps.
So much fun.
It's
so much fun.
Hey, try something different against when you're playing Sync Esports, especially, and you know, that could be the difference maker. So we'll see how that works out. Now, Sync Esports, you see Moira here again. That's just an illusion. Actually going to die off in the meantime. The water slide also going to be despawning here. But so yeah, it's I mean, it also means he's not going to really have mana problems here on out. I mean, there's a lot of mana regen on that item as well as the intelligence, of course. So you know, the nice burst of not burst necessarily, but the constant movement speed of +30. So it's even all across the board, some nice little stats for him. Just definitely very different.
Recently. Got buffed recently as well, didn't it?
That's
so,
true.
A little small buff. But no, it's the factor of having the ability to one-shot the Dark Lady. When he gets level 11, it will easily be able to one-shot the Dark Lady, as long as he times it correctly once he's got the portal key. Oh, it's so good. I love it so much, and it's so much fun as well, because you get to explode on people, Preggy. It's so much fun. But,
so it is making the point, though, he's playing more of a pure initiator this game, whereas Puppet Master is going to be more of the overall damage dealer.
Definitely. That's the one drawback to this item. He doesn't have the raw right click as you normally would do with a lot of the other builds. So in terms of dealing with Dark Lady perhaps in sort of the mid to late game, when she picks up a Shrunken, he might not have the ability to do that. Obviously, unless he can actually, you know, pull off this combo perfectly to make sure he gets the burst off before she pops Shrunken Head. But that just depends on how good his execution is, for example. But one thing's for certain, though, when you pick up the Storm Spirit on the Portal Key combo, it allows you to farm a lot quicker because of the mana regeneration, but also allows you to sort of get pickoffs here and there when he picks up the combo. And because you're shrunk, that's really surprising, because the whole factor about this sort of combo is you pick up the Portal Key afterwards, so you have the ability to sort of one-shot people, for example. Without the Portal Key, you simply can't pull off the combo because you can't line up a Soul Burst perfectly. Like you'll use Storm Spirit, try and line up a good Soul Burst, but you won't have the time to do it because you have to walk up to him and then, you know, sort of wind up the Soul Burst. But he probably will still go for a Portal Key, but maybe sort of prioritising the Shrunken Head first, for example. But
well,
yeah.
We see, I mean, to be fair, we do see a lot of the time, too, they just get the Mighty Blade for it to tank up a little bit, and he still goes the Portal Key, so I wouldn't put it past that happening here. Because, I mean, I get what you're saying, and it does make a lot of sense. So, yeah, to not now follow up with the Portal Key does seem like it's taking away a little bit from it, perhaps, but...
Yeah, definitely.
Probably figures that there could be some fights happening soon. In fact, look at Slap's item choice. He actually goes straight Portal Key here after the Ring of Sorcery. Very interesting. Still sitting on the red boots, even, at this point.
I mean... One thing's for certain, like in terms of actually sort of taking team fights, he will only be able to pull that combo off if he has Shrunken Head, because Bubbles will silence him, so will the Dark Lady, you know, the Flux Discharge, for example, or Sun from Moira. A lot of those things can actually sort of almost make this combo foul. I mean, heck, even if he's got a Shrunken Head, Tempest can still hold him before he even gets the combo off, for example. So it's not a 100% guaranteed combo, and actually probably, in theory, if there's a game to do it, it's probably not this game, because it's very, very hard to pull off. But I still have to sort of... give him praise for sort of going for the ballsy play with this combo, but without a doubt he'd be buying Portal Key, because it just doesn't make sense not to buy it with the item choice. But still, it's interesting to see. Very, very interesting.
See Moira right there, and again, that's definitely a big strength of this hero as well. The fact that she can constantly use that Ephemeral Forge. No, it's not constantly necessarily. It's a minute cooldown down at 45 seconds at level 4, but still the point is, can use it for scouting purposes, kind of right there, checking things out. And it's not only good for scouting purposes, but also, obviously, if you happen to find somebody, then you can do something about it with the stun and the mana sunder and whatnot, even the Arcane Vortex, to possibly set up a kill. So, yeah, looking forward to seeing more of that. But again, Dark Lady, you got to keep looking at her, though. 460 gold per minute now. She has a Rune Calaver here, just finished a Ring of the Teacher. So the Abyssal Skull very likely going to be following suit. So she's still in that farming mindset, definitely. And I mean, that kind of takes you to this Legion team right now, where they got an Assassin shot on Puppet Master. I think Cthulhu Font may have just got his Portal Key, or is he? I assume he does. Yeah, the Portal Key is on the carrier top lane, though. In the meantime, we have initiation on a Bubbles first, but here comes the Arcane Vortex. It's going to stall Puppet Master, and now he might be in a little bit of trouble himself. In fact, Ro4's down, so that Invis is not going to do much, but now Moro's actually the one in trouble. Tempest thinking about it. Tempest wants to go, but no, there's a Storm Spirit. In comes a Covered Darkness. Oh, Soul Stealer ultimate is going to be used. However, the Tempest pulls him, but no, Flux pulled him out! What was Flux thinking right there? He pulls him out of the Tempest ultimate. The communication not on par, but now Puppet Master, he's still taking some good damage. He will fall in the air, but Flux is also going to fall. Oh, boy, and that goes back to, they don't play a whole lot of Flux. Nice stun by Cthulhu Font in the meantime, and Keizu will go down. Shrek comes out on top in the end.
Yeah, I mean, are you seeing the damage done by this Soul Stealer? Like, the Demon Hands, like, normally we never really see a Soul Stealer fight this early, but with like this, the Storm Spirit build, obviously you have the utility sort of stop the Tempest element, for example, which obviously didn't stop the Tempest element, but sort of stopped the initiation factor of him. And like, landing all these Demon Hands does so much damage in the team fights, and yeah, they just simply outplay Sync in that fight. A massive protective melody from Rhapsody as well stops the damage done from the charge strikes from Dark Lady. But yeah, you definitely said it, that the Flux ultimate actually pulled him out of the Tempest ultimate, which is obviously was a big factor as well. And they're going to secure the 2-1 tower now, Breaky.
Yeah, I just don't get that Flux ulti at all. I mean, they're really, unless he was just simply using it on somebody else that he was looking at, and obviously you can't choose who it affects everyone. You got to be careful. In situations like that, say, well, Soul Stealer's in a Tempest ultimate and you pull him out, so very kind of an awkward situation right there. Not usually Sync-like again. They are usually really on top of team play, if anyone, on the scene right now. But that was definitely a little bit off. But he has a Portal Key now on Flux, with that said, so they are trying to take a little bit more of the advantage of that Wombo combo potential. But nice middle tower push by Remember Me, playing the Puppet Master here. And again, his farm, he's 0-2-5, not the sexiest stat line, but he's 342 gold per minute right now. And, getting some solid farm. Looks like the Shrunken Head going to be next in line. Soul Stealer, though, he, so again, he did go the route of the Portal Key, and he's actually getting really close to finishing a Shrunken on top of that now.
Yeah, that's really big. Oh, please do it now.
Is he going to go for it right here? No, more.
I thought that was the time, man. I thought that was the time, but yeah. I thought he was going to go Shrunken Head off that Mighty Blade, but you were correct, though, Break. He picked up the Mighty Blade and then went into Portal Key. And it's so effective, this combo, though. And I'm glad to see he has at least gone for the Portal Key now, because he can be farming, like, he can one-shot this Bubbles right now. I think that's what he's waiting to do. Oh, please. This is the time.
You really want to see this combo? Yeah, I do, too.
I do, man. It's so much fun. Oh. He's thinking about it.
Yeah, he wants to. I mean, it's just a matter of... Oh, he got it. No. There we go. Oh, he got sung on the C, though.
He got silence.
He got silence. If it wasn't for that silence, that was an easy kill right there. Yeah. Nice job by Casey, though.
Yeah, definitely. But this combo is so much fun. Like, I play it on stream all the time, Breaking. Oh, it's so much fun. Shout out to that, but it's so much fun. It's so powerful as well, though, because like obviously when you're Soul Stealer, obviously the main aim is just keep on farming the jungle, farming the lane, for example. But if you can sort of continue your farming pattern whilst picking up heroes as well, your GPM can just skyrocket. Like, I mean, he's sort of keeping up with a Dark Lady with Rune Dax, and definitely some of it's got to because of the Storm Spirit pickup. So, yeah, it's interesting.
Constant mana regen kicking in, so Dark Lady has the Abyssal Skull now, another the 2,000 gold saved up, and again, as pretty as it's been, I still kind of feel like Shrek is not forcing the issue as much as they could be. I don't know if you agree with that, but
yeah,
it just seems
The one thing, though, is that they do have a lot of team fight here on the side of Sync. The Tempest and the Flux, obviously, and the Bubbles is very, very dangerous. They've got 3 Portal Keys now, and Ogre, they don't have their defensive items yet. They don't have their Shrunken Heads. I think when they pick up the Shrunken Heads, that's when they start to look to make an aggressive move. Perhaps if they can time it when Flensmeister doesn't have his Shrunken Heads yet, Ogres do. I think that would be a massive timing, and I think that could be a very useful time to sort of try and force objectives when they have that. Actually, I mean, Soul Stealer is about 1,000 gold away from his, so they might look to go aggressive when they get Shrunken Heads on Soul Stealer, for example.
Yeah. I wonder if Slap is kind of regretting this Portal Key that he picked up earlier on as well. Again, being an item that it is, it does slow down his farm a little bit compared to, other increase on the stat items, like a tablet even, or whatnot, working towards the Shrunken, the Restoration Stone even, but choosing to go, again, the Portal Key, and we really haven't seen the most use out of it. Other than what was at the top lane. Flux, he is invis, so they don't know he's here. This could backfire in the sense that Flux obviously has all the vision necessary, and perhaps his team could set up, but it's going to give vision to Tempest, if anything, that, yeah, he needs to know to fall back, so I don't think anything's going to really come out of it, unless maybe Cthulhu Fawn. He gets
Bubbles,
aggressive here. As at the bottom lane, oh yeah, Puppet Master picks him off, as I was going to say, no, they do not jump at this top lane. So, but nice pick off from Puppet Master, though, using that assassin shot, I'm sure. And yeah, Keizu also on Bubbles. I mean, that's kind of another player-hero combination, just like Mickey on Flux here, and Flens on Dark Lady even. A lot of these were just not really seen a whole lot of Sync esports.
Yeah, I think it's because, obviously, they're changing their strategies, and so if they change their strategy, almost they have to change every single hero what they're normally getting, actually. So that's probably the reason why. Oh, Magnus, nice stun away. It's going to be fun. But there's a Shrunken Head on Soul Stealer, though. Darkly has got a Shrunken Head, though, as well, so they are going to have to deal with that if they choose to do it. And fighting against Portal Key Tempest, Portal Key Flux, Portal Key Bubbles, I think it might even be too greedy or too risky to try and make a play, particularly if Puppet Master doesn't have his Shrunken Head either. But we'll have to wait for the decision they make.
Yeah. Yeah, he's got that Mighty Blade. It still has plenty of gold before going to be happening. But you do see that triple Portal Key here, of course, on Cthulhu Magnus and obviously the Soul Stealer. I was calling them the Storm Spirits, but Soul Stealer with a Storm Spirit. Again. Now, there are some people, I don't know how much you follow the Dota 2 scene yourself.
Yeah, it's really big in Dota.
Is it a Dota 2
thing? Yeah, I do. I do want to bring it up, but it's really, really big.
You know, I mean, that's one of those things. It's like, again, they watch what they do. I mean, there's no around that. Because, again, it's similar enough that things like this could transfer over. Yeah. And no doubt, you know, the Han players with Han history that I've gone to Dota 2, they've taken a little bit of that history and with them into Dota.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's massive in Dota. It's something that they always do for any of the Shadowfin players that play it. And it just allows you the ability to sort of farm the jungle so much more effectively, and it's a lot cheaper than the Nullstone, obviously, which is kind of probably the one drawback, obviously, on the Soul Stealer. I mean, if you look at it, this game is not a Nullstone game. Or Moira actually might be getting picked off the Cthulhu.
Look at that Cthulhu, man. Whoop, Arcane Vortex. Now, she might die when she comes out of this, depending on positioning. No, she's going to survive. And that's the Arcane Vortex power for you. Now, he's still alive. Support is coming over, but it's not going to be nearly in time. And yeah, they actually turn around as well. So down goes Cthulhu.
Nice idea.
Arcane Vortex, though.
He dropped a Portal Key, tried to pick it up again, but didn't actually get to pick it up. He's going to have to walk back all the way over there.
He tried to make the Mickey play.
Yeah, but this is going to be Congo, though, I think, and that's a really big thing, though, because now they can get token on Darkblade, so they have another 4 or 5 minutes of extra from it if they want to. But I think they can even push in the issue, though. With token on Darkblade, she's not really in danger of getting bursted down from the Puppet Master or obviously this Storm Spirit Portal Key combo from Soul Stealer. And I think that play from Fane was just a little bit too aggressive. Tried to only secure a kill on the Moira and just obviously wasn't worth it.
Rhapsody down here at the bottom lane all by herself. Yeah, what she's doing now. Puppet Master was also there initially, to be fair. So, but yeah, clearly just way up there and a little bit further than she should be. As obviously the Portal Key is coming in. I mean, we talked about the triple Portal Key on the Legion side. Of course, it's the same thing on the Hellborn side now with the Tempest, the Bubbles, and the Flux. There goes the Conquer kill, as you're mentioning, though. Token alive now on Dark Lady. So again, it's getting to a point where as they won like the first big team fight of this game, sure, but were they really pushing it enough? It constantly goes back to that, and you can kind of start to feel now that Sync Esports is starting to gain some momentum once again. Yeah, I know it's hard, but it's just going to work out for them in the end.
True. I mean, it's just hard to push into like Magnus Tempest, for example, like regardless of what kind. Oh, actually, top lane Magnus going in with Eruption.
Speaking of Magnus and Tempest, not the best Eruption initially. And actually, Tempest will survive it. Yeah, his placement was a little bit off right there, and now he's in some trouble himself. He's going to try to use that Steam Bat to get away and be clever with it, but it's not going to happen. Dust comes out as well. And
too many yellow blades.
Going.
He's got battery TP.
Oh my gosh! How is he still alive?
Ro4, I think they saw him. He's still dead, I think.
He should be. Yeah, finally getting close to him. Jeez. Took a while. Peace. Obviously.
I mean, yeah, I mean, it was very, very hard to sort of see if they could push in. The fight against Tempest Flux, for example, they don't have the greatest pushing pushing sort of lineup. They've got a dual core lineup with Soul Stealer, Puppet Master, for example, who didn't have their own Shrunken Heads. I think if they try to force them out, I think they would just get punished, honestly, because of the defensive activities. Actually, middle lane.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, he wanted to come out with the Whiplash instead of crowd control initially. Now she does have a Shrunken Head, of course. So, but hey, baiting that out, if anything, is still good. It's still a victory.
True.
So
true, definitely.
Probably should have still used it.
Yeah, I mean, just going back to whether they should push the issue, I don't think that they could have, honestly. I think they would have been punished with the Portal Keys on all three of Sync, to be fair. I think Dark Lady, I mean, It's hard to say, obviously, but I think they made the right decision. It's just they've made a couple of YOLO plays now, the Cthulhu Foot and now the Magus up top, and it's cost them a lot, honestly. The token, obviously, on Dark Lady. I mean, if for example, if Cthulhu didn't get picked off, they wouldn't have the token. They would have Shrunken Head on Sorcerer and Puppet Master, and then maybe they could push the issue because they've got the Shrunken Heads. But obviously, fighting against token, that's another 5 minutes that they're delayed in whether they can push the issue, for example. So it's hard to say, but you have to remember as well, though, they've got a dual core lineup. They don't necessarily have to push the issue. I mean, they've got 2 carries against 1 in that respect. Obviously, they've got to deal with the Tempest element as well, which technically they don't have a counter. So, I mean, Sync's late game is still as fearsome as Ogre's, but I don't think there was any need to sort of rush things, though, to be fair.
So right there again, Flux using the ultimate more so scouting purpose, and again does reveal invis as well if there happens to be some of that. So trying to see if they can catch anybody. Of course, having more on top of that with that ephemeral forge can catch them off guard on all the portal keys, but they did not really get the most out of it in the end. Not the biggest deal. Now the bound eye, ooh, yeah, spotted Cthulhu Font right there, but he gets away portal keys before he does get caught. Top lane up here, you have Puppet Master. Kind of interesting. Yeah, the Helm of the Victim looks like a Whispering Helm is going to be picked up a lot later than what you would usually want it, or when you would usually want it, but still figuring it's going to be a good item pick up to an eventual Symbol of Rage later on in the game, I guess, but wants that lifesteal here. Does that make sense to you?
Is that for the
Puppet Master?
Puppet Master, yeah. It makes sense because they're going to need someone to go toe-to-toe with the Dark Lady. Because obviously, when she has Stronger Head, there's nothing that they can really deal to her outside of right clicks, obviously. And as she's going to be melee, you're going to have to go toe-to-toe with her against her. Gives him a farming way as well, which is understandable. So yeah, I think it's a fine pickup. He's going to obviously need to build up damage though now because both Soulstealer and Puppet Master are or definitely in need of damage. And although I have to admit I really love this pickup from the Storm Spirit Soulstealer, it just hasn't had a big enough of an impact. Like he hasn't got one pick off with it, which honestly is the biggest thing about it. Like you need to get pickups with it. Like he tried down bottom, obviously, but the execution was a little bit off, and he failed, for example. And he could potentially use it in team fights, but not really because he's flying against Tempest, for example. So Stronger Head won't actually do anything. They're going to find Moira, though.
They sure are. That should be an easy kill right there. Yeah, they find her in the jungle. You see Bubbles was coming over, couldn't get there in time. Now there's the other part of the team. They were actually pushing the top lane and do get a top tower kill out of it. But yeah, it is kind of a hindsight thing. Like, sure, if you went a different build, like the typical, the Firebrand into the Geometer's Bane here, you know, how things may have been different. But actually, Cthulhu Font, he's going to be jump right. Gets a trample off, though. And again, he is very tanky, but clearly not tanky enough in the end. He does go down as Dark Lady leading the way right there, showing off her damage that Frostburn picked up. Again, she sells a token, going to be wearing off, though, as I say that, pretty much the second thereafter. So no more token of life now on Dark Lady, of course, only lasting the 5 minutes now. But yeah, because of how the game has played out, I don't think there's really been a moment in this game. I mean, he did use the Storm Spirit as that top team fight that maybe was a little significant,
that's true.
But
true. I think you're right in that respect. But was it worth it overall? I'm not 100% sure because now the big thing in Dota as well, like when you use it, like you almost one-shot someone in the team fight as well. And in this game, I don't think he's going to have the ability to do that. Like I said, he's playing against an Arcane Vortex, obviously a Tempest Ultimate as well, that are going to be going through Shrunken Head, for example. So he's not going to have that ability to do it. I mean, it's still a great item, though, because what's the alternative? He's going to need mana regeneration, so the only alternative is Nullstone, for example. There's no spell block that is going to be really that useful to block. And not only that, it's obviously a lot more expensive than the Storm Spirit. So don't get me wrong, like, I still think it's a good item. I just think he could have maybe used it to a better effectiveness.
Yeah. Hey, trying something new once again, so it's hard to fault a player for that, especially how much we advocate it, but at the same time, yeah, may not be the best effect here in this game. I mean, hell, the hero, he is 2-0-3 himself. He's farming 520 gold per minute. So, by all means, Nox is still doing a great job. And, I mean, he has nearly 5,000 gold saved up. So, something big is going to be coming. And you see right there, the Dancing Blade picked up. So, it looks like more than likely a Wingbow going to be purchased after that. Cthulhu Font, he's taking some good damage once again. Dark Lady, you just see how much raw damage Dark Lady's able to do now with these auto attacks. Flux is obviously there to assist and at least crowd control a little bit, but that was a majority of damage from Dark Lady on a Cthulhu Font.
Yeah, and Ogre, they're just getting picked up a little bit too much, actually. And talking to that, Puppet might be in trouble.
As Flux have multi, no he doesn't. He's going to go for a turn on a Flux. Here comes Darkly. He pops the Shrunken Head, protect the Melody. Going to be coming in as well, but the Arcane Vortex, it will save Flux for the time being, and it's going to force them to scatter right now. Soul Stealer, he has a Soul Burst, but with the Shrunken Head up, it's not going to do much, of course. Can he get it off? Now he will, but Darkly was well out of range of good damage, at least. Magma's still stunned, but she's still in a pretty good spot here to perhaps get away. Another Charging Strikes in 1 second. Going to use it right there. Portal Key Chase going to go for the TP. No stun. Oh, she tries to move knowing that it was happening, and she goes down anyways. There's the Tempest ultimate, though. Bubbles and Moira, however, not the most damaged follow-up, unfortunately, and they're going to both start scattering. Cluckmuck, by the way, was picked off by Neutrals throughout all that, and now Tempest all of a sudden. He's in trouble himself, so that's one of those classic cases. A great Tempest ultimate, but unfortunately, the team just wasn't ready for it. So, I mean, they end up killing Darkly. Really, Shrek, you could say they came out on top there.
Yeah, definitely. They killed the Dark Lady. They only lost the Puppet. It was a 2 for 3. It was definitely in favor of Ogre. I mean, one thing that was very evident. Oh no! Oh my God! How does he have that map presence?
I do not know. Aiden getting accused of map hacking earlier. Wow.
I don't know, man. That's another level. That is insane.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, no, that's one of those cases. It looks like hacking, but obviously that was just a case. You know what? He maybe saw somebody go in that area. Just figured, why not? It's minimal mana cost. It takes just a second to do. Why not just in case? And what a player indeed coming out.
That's man, that's just insane though. Like really is. But particularly in a heat of a game, like a competitive match, you're not thinking about things like that. Honestly, you're really not. And for him to do that is just insane. Honestly, so. What a play from Nox. But for something that I really did draw from that team fight, though, is that they are really lacking physical damage on the Dark Lady. When she has that Shrunken Head popped up, they really do very, very minimal. And obviously, I guess that goes back to the Storm Spirit on Soul Stealer. Obviously, we wondered if it was a good item pickup or not. But definitely in the late game stages now, obviously, that's, how was it? It's like 2,000 or 3,000 gold, sorry. Not spent on a physical presence item like a Wingbow or a Savage Mage, for example. And I think that's definitely hurting them when Dark Lady has the Shrunken Head up. But once that Shrunken Head goes down, for example, I mean, Ogre have a lot of damage to deal with him. That's what we saw in that team fight there. Yeah. So, building into a Wingbow, maybe a Savage next, I think that'll be a very, very useful item to deal with the Dark Lady.
To be fair, he does have a Storm Spirit for the team utility over. It is a good item to have for utility, for still setting up, for canceling things. Flux pulls him in right there. Dark Lady ultimate on top of them. But here comes the turn. Shrunken Head's off as well. There's the big Soul Burst. Flux is no longer anymore. Dark Lady with his Dawnbringer. He's doing some good damage, but the Shrunken Head is going to be wearing off here in just a second. Tempest, he doesn't have an ultimate either himself. Flux bought back, by the way, but as soon as he comes back in, really the fight's already over. So Rhapsody, the only casualty on the Legion side, they got 2 themselves, including that Flux who bought back, and they'll be fine with that. They got the tower on top of that, going to fall back and continue to farm elsewhere. So, yeah, again, the Wingbow pickup on Soul Stealer, clearly a pretty solid pickup, I think it's safe to say. Actually, Bubbles, oh man, is he going to take out Mighty Marcus here, using the Steam Bath, trying to get away, Portal Key, and he will be successful with that. So, especially with that getaway in the end, another victory there for Shrek as far as winning that fight. Now, Congore's back up, and you can tell Sync Esports really interested, and they go right back to Kongore.
Yeah, they can just solo it, and I guess this is just Hellborn Advantage, for example, and I guess that could even be the reason why I think drafted this sort of late game style of lineup. Obviously, if it's late game, the tokens, also if it's a late game sort of style of draft, then tokens mean that much more for your carry, and most likely, you're going to be getting a lot more Congo kills in terms of late game strategies, for example. But they're going to screw it here, and I don't think Ogre can do anything about it, and obviously they can't. Looks like Sausage is actually going to go for a Whispering Helm, actually, which I can understand the reason why, because he needs to go toe-to-toe with Dark Lady. He needs to sort of right-click and sort of go a 1v1 battle with him, but he just does very, very minimal damage, honestly. And like he's gonna have to sell the Storm Spirit next, honestly, which is a little bit unfortunate because we haven't seen one short KO with it. But,
yeah. That is a good point. I mean, it would give him 1,500 gold if he...
he won't sell it now, obviously, but he'll probably even get post-haste before he gets anything else, because he needs to have a TP slot, I think. Bottom lane, perhaps? Nope. No. Not going to go. But, and this is the one weakness, obviously, of Storm Spirit as well. You don't have any physical presence in the late game, so you can't really keep it. And secondly, obviously, it's not a luxurious item kind of thing. You don't want to have it in the late game. Yeah, exactly. And he needs right click, as I said, because when Shrunken Head is popped by Dark Lady, no damage is really being dealt to her because Puppet Master and Soul Stealer are still kind of lacking damage by quite a bit. When there's a Savage Mace pickup from either one of them, I think, yeah, they can go toe-to-toe with them, but in the meantime, it's very, very lacking.
I always like to stress this, too, with that Soul Burst ability from Soul Stealer. Again, not only is it good for the damage, but, well, just a slow on top of that, but the minus 25% base damage that it also applies a debuff of to the heroes and enemies that it hits, and, of course, that's big against a hero like Dark Liddy, decreasing her physical damage presence by a bit. So that's something that also will have will come into play here.
It's really, really important that, like, even if he doesn't get a good Soul Burst in terms of damage, he should still do it just for the minus base damage. So. Because it is that big of a deal, honestly. So, yeah, good point to make.
2,000 gold saved up for him. Again, he could have 1,500 more gold on top of that by selling the Storm Spirit if he really needs it. So, keep an eye for when that may inevitably happen here. Look at the right click, though, of the Savage Maze from Dark Lady. That's something Flensmeister reminding us time and time again that he is the carry player here, and he is still farming very well throughout this game. 660 gold per minute. You cannot overlook that at all. 5-1-3 hero kill score, but of course, look at nearly 400 creep kills. Big bar for that as well. So he's pushing the middle lane with his team now. There's 240 remaining on the token, so there's still some good time left here. And of course, the Savage Mace in delivery wants to wait to have that, but obviously a fantastic pickup, especially since they're going up against a Wingbow here. Picked up by Soul Stealer.
It's risky to push into like a Magma Disruption, obviously Portal King, Fullerfant, and obviously a Soul Stealer, for example. So it's going to be hard, but I think they can do it if they get the right initiation. But it's just going to be risky.
Morio's like, I got this, don't worry. Goes in with the illusion and dies shortly after. Dark Lady, she dives in right there, but no response really. Again, you don't want to overcommit, especially when she has a token of life against this Hellborn team. Both teams definitely got a bit of AoE synergy, too. I mean, they got a lot of teamfight presence on either side. I think it's even arguably stronger on Sync's side. You know, Tempest and Flux, a big part for that, is safe to say. So, and, you know, even Dark Lady, of course, with that Rune Cleaver especially and her skill set, she will hit you very hard. And if you're cluttered up in a Tempest Ultimate, she will just take you all out. Now, as I say that, Dark Lady gets gone right here. There's a Tempest Ultimate. It's not going to be stopped with the Freak ability. It will save Puppet. No, it's just at a range, it looked like. Puppet Master will fall. Magnus stuns him with the Eruption, though. The Soul Burst goes off right there. Down goes Dark Lady as well as Moira. Dark Lady coming back up, though, of course, takes a stun. Storm Spirit off the bat, actually. Now throwing out some nukes, but now she pops her Shrunken Head, and she is going to retreat right here. Puppet Master, I believe he bought back. He did, but it is going to be enough for Sync to start falling back. And that should be the end of that fight, so... And a lot of back and forth there again. You could definitely say, I think Sync coming out on top. Slight, but coming out on top there, using a Puppet Master buyback.
Yeah, they obviously didn't take racks though, and they had the token advantage. So I think Hoga will be happy with that as well. I think actually that Storm Sphere right at the end on the Dark Lane, I think might have been actually what saved his life, honestly. But I couldn't really be sure 100%. But regardless, they saved the racks, and that's the most important thing. They didn't have to use a buyback on Soul Stealer either. So yeah, they're still doing good. And one thing's for certain, though, is that Sync, they have to be landing those good Tempest ultimates, for example, because obviously in this lineup for Sync, Tempest is almost acting as the secondary carry. If he can get good lockdown on, obviously, Ogre, for example, then Dark Lady can be dishing out everything. But if he can't, then obviously the Soul Stealer and Puppet Master are going to scale better than Dark Lady because it's 2 carries against 1. He only has 6 item slots at the end of the day, for example. So the later this goes on, as long as, Slaps isn't landing like 5-man God holes, for example, I think Ogre will be fine with letting it go into the late game, for example.
Yeah.
And there's still a lot more room for them to grow, for example. But for Dark Lady, she's kind of maxed out already, really. So
you look at Dark Lady; she's setting up in a pretty interesting spot right here. How's that feeling around? Oh, just on the outskirts of being exposed. That is pretty crazy. Symbol of Rage just purchased by Soul Stealer, by the way. Again, this means he won't have a buyback, but he doesn't care, wants to prioritize that symbol. Now, it's not on him yet. So if a fight starts right here, that's a lot of gold that he spent on an item that he doesn't currently have. He's being locked down right off the bat. Can he do anything? No, he cannot. He goes down right there, and that's exactly what I was worried about. Magma stuns in. Bubble Stick is a good damage. Going to be fine, though. Shell surfs away. Puppet Master is going to try to get a kill on a Dark Lady in the meantime. It's not going to be enough, though. He will survive. Protectability in the background, and down goes Mickey right there. However, Magnus always does it, but he missed Dark Lady. If he hit Dark Lady as well, that could have definitely been a kill on her, too, but at least he killed Bubbles, I guess, but that'll be the end of it. But, yeah, making a big purchase like that, pushing into a base, you got to be careful about it.
I don't know. I don't think making that purchase was that bad. I think it was just Sync. They had great initiation. They killed the Solstice instantly. Everyone was on top of him, and they burst down perfectly. Good play from Insania as well. He made sure that there was no follow-up from the Rhapsody by actually using the Arcane Vortex on the supporting cast, and they just blew up the Solstice before he could do anything. That was just really great play from Ogre, for example. And him not having a buyback, I don't think he's going to be punished too much because, you know, he's got 25 seconds left, and they're not pushing into racks just yet. So, yeah, I think him buying that was fine, but he didn't actually have a similar rage on him. If he had it, you know, he might not have died actually. So yeah, it's a little bit annoying. But
yeah, just if anything, because of the life pool that he would have had,
exactly,
would have maybe kept him up and allowed bottom time to pop the Shrunk in, to pop the symbol, and perhaps turn things. So now he will have it again. So going to no buyback, but he will have it now. Is that point going into this fight? But yeah, Dark Lady really showing once again that she is a lot of damage. Now again, you're making the good point that she's in a sense nearly filled here at least. You could say still the Rune Cleaver, if anything, but
I think Rune Cleaver is really good on Dark Lady because it synergizes so nicely with the charging strikes, gives him ways to clear out the waves. Not only that, if Tempest lands like a 3 or 4, you know, God Hole, for example, then he's going to be cleaving everyone in that. Actually, there might be engagements here.
Yes, there is. Finds Solstice right off the bat. Silence comes out, and Solstice there again. He's dead off the bat, going into a blind spot right there. Very risky for that reason exactly.
This ward from Insania just spotting out completely.
You're right.
And he has no buyback. That could be Rax. Oh my god, that pickoff was absolutely huge, Breaky.
Yeah, no, that's one of those that could help sway a game in one team's favor, and in this case for Sync Esports, because this game has definitely been a back and forth battle between Shrek and Sync. And that could be the one hit, the one blow that starts to put Sync ultimately ahead. Now we'll see Flux pulls in, and the God Hole comes up, but no, the predicted melody is going to be stopped though by the count field. Still getting a lot of damage out of it against Solstice there. He ain't coming back though. They will kill Mickey. They dove a little too far, and now they're playing defensive. Oh, missed the trample. No, we had to shrug it up so it wouldn't have mattered. But they dove a little too far right there to the base. A great Tempest ultimate. Just a little further than they wanted it to be, and, you know, they weren't able to get the most out of it. So the fact that Shrek got a kill and didn't lose anyone, they're playing very well themselves here.
Ogre really happy with that. They just defended a 4v5 man push from Sync, actually, and Tempest landed like a 3 or 4 man hole. Again, just great play from Cluck, actually. You used the Protector Melee. I think he saved the Puppet Master as well in that team fight. And that Tempest hole was absolutely massive as well. I landed, I think, 4 on Heroes, but that Protector Melody saving the day once again. And now Ogre pushing out with Solstice on top of them. And they're fighting against no Tempest ultimate Breaky, so they might even try and push this or even try and take Kongor.
Using this symbol of rage with Solstice is something that I'm sure they really want to be able to do in these team fights. So, and actually, Moira and Dark Lady's by herself, but they can't catch her. They don't know she's there. Again, that goes to the lack of vision they have currently. At least, down here. And
one of the things for saying that, like, Ogre, this whole game, actually, they've been getting picked off quite a lot, and I think it just comes down to map vision. Like, Insania's dominating the map vision on anything and everything, practically. Ogre's getting picked off time and time again, and obviously in that one it didn't really matter too much because they didn't lose racks, but they really have to be better, a little bit better in terms of their positioning, because they're giving away 3 kills on Lisa to Sync.
Man, the fact that it's now 45 minutes in just about, and it's only 1,100 gold difference, 3,400 experience difference, and it's one way or the other. So obviously, again, just goes back to being a very even game right here. Buyback situation still pretty minimal here. Puppet Master and Flux on either side, of course, spending their buyback so far. So another Conqueror kill could be very important. Obviously not happening just yet. Puppet Master top lane, they saw him up there for half a second, and yeah, he has to be pretty careful as a result of that now. As you can tell, Sync Esports, they're looking to maybe try to cut him off, maybe get him perhaps coming down here, but ain't going to be happening as Moira goes up there, and yeah, with that bound eye, she knows he's up here. Oh!
Stun?
What was Puppet Master thinking? He might be at stone. Meanwhile, in the middle lane, though, Cthulhu gets jumped. So they use that as kind of a distraction right there, and down goes Cthulhu. So they won't kill Puppet, but they got something out of it.
They're going to take they're defending 3v5 because Puppet Master doesn't even have a TP now because it got cancelled. Sync on not going to push it the issue, though, I guess.
He bought back right there, so.
Oh, that's why.
Yeah, buys back and not worth it in their mind. But yeah, that's a good point. That he didn't have a TP, obviously. Yeah,
Insania's been playing so top-notch this game, actually. Like, obviously that play, like when he was level 4, obviously at the top of Observatory, for example, his warding's been on point, and obviously making a lot of these plays actually with the ephemeral forwards. Like the range and the almost catch potential that he has of it is just insane, actually. So he's had a really great game today, actually.
Moira, speaking of him, he's in a pretty good spot right here to set something up. Bubble's going to go in first. Magma's going to be that target. In comes the cover of darkness, but now Solstice, Soul Burst, no, he cancels it. He does have his shrunken head up, doing some right clicks, but Darkly is sitting on top, and there's the source spin on himself. The pull with the Tempest ultimate though, and here comes the cleave. Damage, Solstice there goes down before he could Soul Burst, and it looks like the Legion team is falling apart. Darkly doing so much damage right there. We lose Tempest, and it's a genocide for the Hellborn team, or near genocide at least. Rhapsody did escape, I guess, but that doesn't really matter.
These Tempest holes, man. These Tempest... Oh my god, the only reason why that one went so much better than all the other ones is because obviously I think Rhapsody was caught as well. Like, Slap played like a 4-man hole again, man. He's been playing so clutch with his ultimates, and that was the reason they won that team fight so easily, and that could be racks, that could even be game breaking.
That could be
buybacks.
2 racks here easily, yeah. Oh, no buybacks at anyone, and now he has a symbol of rage that he just got right there, and so I think that's the game. I mean, I don't know if they're going to actually concede just yet or not, but again, what a big fight near the Conqueror Pit. And it honestly seemed like Shrek actually had pretty good initiation. I mean, the cover of darkness came out, but obviously the Shrunken Head's removing that debuff, at least from a couple of the important heroes. But you said it, Slap, though, with another huge Tempest ultimate. And like you're talking about, that Rune Cleaver on Dark Liddy. I mean, sure, it's more of a farming tool on a lot of heroes, but Dark Liddy is one of these where you want to think about keeping it on here into the late game because she will wreck, especially when you have a teammate like Flux and like Tempest, and just destroy the team. So top and middle racks gone just like that. And now all the momentum in favor of Sync Esports here.
Definitely, and I still think they have an ability to take this game though. I mean, they've got Puppet Master and Solar still, and even though they're 2 racks down, I mean, like, it seems strange that I think they still have ways back into this game though. It's because like this meta is completely different from all the strategies we've been watching recently. You know, we've been watching strategies where it's sort of team fight and push, for example. Whoever takes racks kind of first wins, but this is carry versus carry, and Ogre, they still have a lot more room to breathe. For example, they've got Sheepstick now on Magmas, for example. You know, if they can catch out Dark Lady before, you know, or if she doesn't have a buyback, for example, there's still ways around this game, even though they're 2 racks down. I mean, I'm not going to say it's going to be easy, but they still have ways back into this, just because of how much farm they actually have on the heroes at the moment. So there's still a lot of games to be played.
You can tell Shrek is definitely in that old-ish style of play right here. And you see the Ro4 going to, as well as Reward of Sight, going to spot this Legion team, expose them with the Veiled Rod attempt. Now Magnus, they catch Dark Liddy. I mean, this is a good start right here, but again, Flux pulls them in. In comes a Soul Burst, but it's not nearly enough. Obviously, the Stricken Head was already up, and Puppet Master gets picked off. The Arcane Vortex was also stalling Soul Stealer that whole time, while the fight just to his left was going on. Dark Liddy, he's going now on to Soul Stealer, pops the symbol of rage. They finish off Magnus. Now he goes back to Soul Stealer after the Storm Spirit, and that should do it. GG, well played. Game 1 going to sync, but boy, was it a fight. Indeed, coming out right there. We got to see not only just a very interesting start to the game and pickups from Nox there on Soul Stealer, but, you know, I don't think at the same time enough attention was given to Flensmeister, who, by the way, finished with 816 goal per minute. And I'm pretty sure we never had an 800-plus game in Season 3 of Haunt Tour as far as goal per minute goes. So, yeah, he farmed out of his mind.
Yeah, he was really on point with his positioning as well, and I mean, like, just played fantastic as well. Like, you can look at that. He only had 1 death, and I think that was in the team fight as well. And we was talking about like positioning and getting caught off. I have to admit, Ogre was getting picked up a lot through that whole game, and the one person that wasn't was obviously Flensmeister. So yeah, you're right, Breaky. He had a fantastic game, but that game was so exciting to watch. I have to say, it was very back and forth, and Ogre definitely had it in their grasp to take that game. But like I said, I think a couple of pickoffs here and there. That one obviously on Soul Stealing at the end of the game, for example. But in the team fights, well, Sync were very, very good. Obviously, some clutch Tempest ultimates from Slaps, but their targeting was absolutely perfect. They killed Soul Stealer like twice before the team fight even started, for example. Yeah, Sync came through with the victory. So yeah, just a really, really great game to watch. That's for sure.